This is the ToRAISE Questions Doula podcast, and this is Thérèse Hakoun. I am the Executive Director of To Labor, an international doula training and certification program. So here I am. I'm in the studio again today. I am once again by myself, kind of getting used to this, though terribly missing Melanie, and I'm sure all of you are as well. We just haven't been able to sync schedules well enough with some of the interviews that we have been doing. So she will return, and you'll hear her lovely voice and input in many podcasts to come. But today we have a guest, a wonderful person, Stephanie Spencer, who is part of an organization called Urban Baby Beginnings. It's a community doula program, and I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with her about her program and all that's involved, and maybe to inspire some of all of you to have programs such as hers. I wanted to take a second and thank you all again for listening and supporting us with this podcast. We feel really proud of having this opportunity to be able to share stories and input and information with all of you, and the feedback that we receive has always been so positive and questioning and understanding and encouraging to us to continue to move forward. So thank you for listening. I never want to take that for granted. We are supported currently by Latched Mama, which is a wonderful company. And if you've been listening, you hear me talk about Latched Mama frequently. Please don't forget to check out their website, their Facebook page, their items, their blog, and support them as they support us. We hope to have Melissa, the owner of the company, on soon to talk about the business and how it can actually, some of her business insights may be very helpful to you in your business as well. I want to let you know that we do have some workshops coming up in the spring and into the summer. We are developing our calendar. So if you go to our website, you will see not a very full schedule at the moment. Please don't be concerned. We are always adding to it, and sometimes it takes us a while to make those decisions. As you probably know, To Labor does not have a multitude of instructors. We purposely keep the instructor numbers down to a very small amount because we want to keep the continuity and the consistency of the message that we are trying to teach, educate, share with those who take the training very consistent. And we feel if there's just too many instructors, that the chance of that occurring gets less. And as a result of that, though, we don't have as many workshops perhaps as some other organizations out there. We have between 12 to 24 a year. So you will never see the fullest of full calendars, but we hope that we come to enough areas of the country that we can meet the needs of those who really want to take our training. And we encourage people to travel, if that is at all possible for them, to come to a different city, a different town, to be able to take the training. We have that very frequently. And I know that sometimes people are concerned about, the cost of that, and we certainly appreciate that. And unfortunately, though, we can't offer assistance with your travel. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes there can be some help in the community itself with housing, that sometimes other participants who live in the area are willing to put somebody up for the weekend or share hotel rooms or Airbnbs with other people who are traveling from outside the area. So please don't let that always be a limit in your mind. Contact our workshop coordinator, Nicole, and or the sponsor that is listed on a workshop information and see if there's some input that they can help you with, or of course contact the To Labor office directly as well. If you would like to further support us, we are completely open, humbly receive donations for this work, and you can find a donation button on our website page under the podcast section, which will take you to a link to be able to donate anything that you feel comfortable contributing. Every little bit helps to help us continue to do this podcasting. So the workshop's coming up in the future: Columbus, Ohio at the end of March. We have Chicago in April, Santa Cruz in April, Tulsa, Oklahoma in May, just to mention a few. And so please check that out. And if you have any questions, contact the local sponsor that is listed on the website, or you can always contact Nicole, as I mentioned, our workshop coordinator, at tolaborworkshops@gmail.com. So I will be back in a moment, and we will begin the conversation with our guest, Stephanie. Thanks, everyone. I'll be right back. Hi, everyone. So we're back with Stephanie Spencer from Urban Babies Beginnings, and I want to introduce Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Thérèse. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, I am just thrilled to have this conversation with you. I've been wanting to for a long time, so I know you're such a busy woman that I can't believe we got it. We connected so quickly to make it happen.
I'm happy to have had the time to be able to come down and speak with you. So
yeah. So can you give us some oversight? Just who is Urban Babies Beginnings?
Urban Baby Beginnings is a community-based doula program that provides perinatal, prenatal, and postpartum support to lower-income moms in the community. We also have a home visiting program where we work with the moms while they are expecting to try and prepare them for their birth.
Okay, so a full prenatal through labor and birth and into the postpartum period?
That's correct. All the way up through 6 months of the baby's life, we will actually follow them.
Wow. And do they come to you at all, the women come to you at all different gestation, or is it like you want them, they're only eligible for the program at a certain time?
We really want our moms to come as early as possible, so we encourage our referral agencies to send that referral as soon as they've met mom, they've confirmed pregnancy, and they're ready to go, because we're trying to stabilize them so that when they're ready to deliver, they are well prepared. They've got everything that they need, they've received their education, and they have a great level of support.
That's so, God, I want to delve into that right away, but I'm going to backtrack for a minute. So, Stephanie, who are you, and how did this program begin, and did you create it, and what is the evolution?
Sure. Urban Baby Beginnings is part of Capital Diaper Bank and Capital Center of Virginia. We are a 501c3. We've been around for over 15 years. Urban Baby Beginnings was developed because we had moms in our child care program and in the diaper bank that were coming asking for assistance, and we were prepared in some ways to help them, but we felt that we weren't providing a full spectrum of services. So essentially what was happening was that we were referring them to other agencies for support and help. Mm-hmm. But what we know is that a community environment for a mom and having that support throughout the pregnancy and hopefully having the same people work with them is more beneficial than referring someone to another agency for help.
Right.
And so that's how Urban Baby Beginnings was born.
Can I interrupt you real quick? What was it, just in a nutshell, what is the organization Capital Diaper? Bank?
Capital Diaper Bank actually provides resources and diapers to mothers in the community when they have experienced a crisis. So we developed that program because we had mothers that were returning to our child care that did not have adequate diaper resources for their child to remain dry through the day.
Right.
And we had mothers that were even reusing diapers for their babies. And
Gosh.
so we realized that it was not only a problem internally, but it was more than likely something that was a problem out in the community. And so what we started to do is to go to local hospitals, social service agencies, shelters, and just to speak with them to find out if this was a challenge they were having as well. And we found out they were, in fact, having the same issue.
And I would, I think so many people just take it for granted that, of course, you have diapers.
Yeah.
And never would consider that that would be an issue.
Right, because you think it's like purchasing toilet paper. It's something that you just get. But when you look at the average cost of diapers for a family, it's between $80 and $100 for a family to be able to provide diapers. If you have multiple children and you have lower resources to be able to provide this, it can really be an issue. And they have to make choices between keeping their baby dry and providing food, clothing, and shelter for their children.
Yeah. Yes. And so there was childcare involved in this program as well? That's
correct. We have Capital Childcare, which is a program that provides preschool education to children who are in crisis situations. So they may be in a family that is living in a shelter. They may have a family that is going through a rehabilitation program or just overall needs some additional services. So we actually have a early Head Start program through City of Richmond that is housed in our building, and we also provide preschool to children up to age 5.
Wow, that's amazing. So now knowing the background of that organization, it makes complete sense where you felt like there was a gap and how that could be filled, how much better, like you said, the earlier, the better.
Absolutely.
So how did you come to this place?
I feel like it was, I've been working with the organization for a very long time, and I am a registered nurse by trade. And I have a passion for working with women. And I felt
the smile on Stephanie's face when she said that was just huge.
And I feel like as women, we need a certain level of support. And maybe that's not necessarily provided in every avenue that we seek. And so I really felt passionate about bringing in a program that provided a service regardless of income.
Right.
I believe as an educator and as a supporter and as a woman that we need to embrace each other. We need to help to identify resources that are out there. But in general, we need to use the education, the knowledge that we have to be able to build the knowledge of others. And you can only do that if you extend your heart and your hand to other people.
Beautiful. I mean, that says it all right there. I can't make that any better, and except to say that I totally agree with that. I mean, that is the basis of how we should live every day.
Right.
But I do think also with women, so often they are the supporter of everyone. And so it is hard for them to accept support or reach out to receive support.
That's so right.
Yeah, and we know also then what will happen is other women will try to help them, but they're under their own stresses and crises as well. So where's the net? And it sounds like you were helping create the net.
That's correct.
And so so what happened? You were working with Capital Bank, the diaper bank, and this need started to arise. So how did you morph into Urban Babies?
Well, we first needed to look at just the training avenues to prepare us to really work with our mothers. And so we approached different programs out in the community, became trained as doulas, dona doulas. We have 2 labor doulas that come and work with us. We're also childbirth educators, so we've gone through Lamaze childbirth education. We really feel passionate about evidence-based practices and education and support. And so really that first year that we looked to transition into Urban Baby Beginnings, it was about preparing us to receive our moms in while still providing a level of support through the other organizations.
That makes so much sense, though. You have to have it first before you can give it.
Exactly. And so from there, we put together just a basic presentation of where we felt, and a strategic plan of where we felt that we were going to fall in the community. And we just hit the ground running. I mean, honestly. And
how many were we?
Oh my goodness. Initially when we started, there were 6 of us.
Okay.
Now overall, even including our volunteers, we have over 30.
Wow, that's great.
And that's been since 2015.
Wow.
Our biggest growth was last year. And that's where we officially launched the actual doula support program out in the community. So it's really grown very quickly, and the community has been wonderful in supporting us.
So where are you when you talk about the community and the agencies? What are you speaking of?
We work with social services. We work with Department of Health Resource Mothers comes through, the local hospitals. BCU is one of our biggest supporters. But we also work with Bon Secours hospitals. We have just grassroots organizations, small organizations that will come in to work with us as well. We have a committee called Renewing Hope, where we have a lot of larger organizations that come around the table, even including insurance organizations, where we speak to some of the challenges out in the community, and we try to develop programs that help address those issues.
So what are some of the challenges out there in the community?
One is the mental health piece, having consistent support and funding to be able to address those needs for our mothers. Housing is a huge issue in the community as a whole, but it becomes even bigger when you're working with a woman who is expecting or a family with children.
Right.
Healthy nutrition, having nutrition, adequate nutrition is so important, and it's a big issue as well. And having those resources to be able to get healthy foods is a huge issue as well. Insurance coverages, what can the mom receive when she's under Medicaid in comparison to private insurances, and then what does she have to pay out of pocket? That's a huge issue in the community
even
as a whole.
Applying for those, knowing that they exist.
Exactly, and that knowledge barrier. Transportation, getting back and forth to where they need to go. And, and that could be a challenge when we're using the transit system.
Which Richmond doesn't have the best transit system. Right,
exactly. So, and that's not everything, but those are some things that we really look to work on. And then our goal is to try and inevitably support our families through birth, yes, and beyond, but also to get them to a level of self-sufficiency to where they can manage these things on their own, and it is a huge undertaking.
It sounds like a huge undertaking. That those words aren't adequate enough. I'm sure. When you talk about mental health, can you expound upon the mental health issues? Because I think that's the crux.
Right.
I mean, the transportation obviously is the crux, but your mental health.
Yeah. Many of our moms come through our program and they don't have the mental health support. They don't have the insurance coverage that they need to be able to gain assistance. Even counseling services are limited when you don't have insurance. And so basically what I will sometimes get is a mom who's not stabilized and doesn't have secure mental health. And as a result of that affects her pregnancy.
Right.
And so what we're trying to do a lot of times is just to get someone to have those basic things, food, housing, shelter, their mental health support, the medications that they need to be able to have a healthy pregnancy. and have a healthy mental state. And it's a huge crisis nationwide,
right,
as far as not having the adequate coverage.
Yeah, no kidding. We think the healthcare system the physical healthcare system leaves so much to be desired, but I know that the mental health system is like the worst quagmire.
Right.
And if you don't know that help is even available, how would you even know to look for that help? And then if you do, how do you go about applying for those services, especially if you're not feeling well emotionally, mentally.
Right.
And then, add on pregnancy on top of it. Life and whatever else it's giving the person.
Correct.
What is the population primarily of your, can you talk about the demographics of your clientele?
The majority of our moms are African American. They age from 16 on up to about 30. The majority filling, in between those ages of probably 20 to 26. They are lower income. Most are either homeless in shelters or living in the community housing systems. I have approximately about 25% of my moms are actually going through school.
Mean like high school still or college?
No, college. Yeah, they're actually going through college. They've had to put things on hold because of what's going on with pregnancy and just trying to become more stable. All of them are Medicaid pending or actually have received Medicaid.
And do many come in without the without the Medicaid already? So you're helping guide with that.
Yes.
But they're coming in from other systems that like social services that's probably helping them.
Correct.
Already, right?
Correct. So in some cases, yes. Sometimes what it is that they have gone to the hospital and they've been admitted because they are having an issue with their pregnancy, and they are assigned a social worker, and that social worker will reach out to the community to find out resources, and at that time they'll try to help guide them through the process of Medicaid. But I find that a lot of times, because of the requirements and things that mom has to gather to be able to apply, it kind of gets lost in the system. And so what you end up having is a mom that doesn't have insurance coverage at all, and it may even be that it's closer to the time that she's ready to deliver before she's actually approved. And so we try to support her to try and ensure that she's getting the necessary documents that she needs to be able to get approved as soon as possible. We also have a segment of population that's not eligible they're eligible for emergency Medicaid, but not the Medicaid services immediately. We have immigrants as well, refugees that we work with. And so in those instances, that's very different. And that's a different level of care that we provide.
Wow. So you really, other than agencies, how do women know that you all exist? A lot of our referrals lately have been through word of mouth. However, mainly our referrals are coming from the hospitals. We have marketing materials that we put in the hospital waiting areas if they will allow. We also will provide them to the health department. Anywhere that someone could just pick information up, we try to put it out so that they'll know. But it's one of those things when I talk to my mothers, I say, how did you find out about us? Right.
And most of the time they'll say, I didn't even know anything about you guys. My social worker was the one that told me.
That's great.
And I would love, and yes, it is, because they are such a great resource and we love them to death. I would love more people to know about our program.
And I think, though, what you said, you've gotten more word of mouth. I would assume, since you're pretty young into this, in essence, this aspect of it, all those mothers who have gone through it are going to tell their friends, their colleagues, their peers. They're going. So it's going to suddenly. You're probably going to be going, "Ooh, maybe we didn't need to."
Yeah,
everyone.
And
you're going to be overwhelmed,
right? And it comes in waves. We'll get 10 or 15 women in almost. It seems like in a couple of weeks, and then it'll die down a little bit. But we need that because we have to establish our mothers in the program. So, I don't mind those ways. But yeah, the growth has been astronomical over the past year. I've been amazed at how quickly we've grown.
And that's just so much, it's just the tip of
Right.
the population that you're actually able to reach. So yes, the work is really large and ongoing.
Right.
Ongoing, because someone new is always going to come in, and yet you still have the people that you have, and
Exactly.
and the following through with the people that you've helped through the pregnancy, but then through a period of time.
Right.
So do the participants in your program have to pay for any of this?
No, this is a free service that we provide to our mothers.
Which is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many other countries offer
Right.
that. And yeah. What about, so how do you all, where is your funding coming from?
Currently, we do not have funding specifically for Urban Baby Beginnings. Everyone that comes through our program that works for us is a volunteer.
Okay.
They truly believe in the work that they're doing. And I have them say every time, Stephanie, I'm not here because I want you to pay me. I'm here because I believe in our moms and I believe in informed choice, and I'm here to educate and support. We understand, however, that long term, we need to develop a plan that has funding and availability. But it's a challenge. It's a two-part challenge, because in the state of Virginia, we have what's called a baby care program. And that baby care program funds childbirth education, postpartum care, and I'm trying to think of the third thing. It's one other thing.
Something with breastfeeding?
Is it breastfeeding? It might come back to me. But that baby care program was essentially the application process was closed through DMAS. So essentially what they said is that baby care is now managed by the managed care organizations, and the funding for that baby care program is given to those managed care organizations, and they will determine how it is used. So as an example, there's a specific managed care organization that has a nurse that's on staff as a case manager. They can do home visits. They provide incentives for moms to go to the doctor. So they will give up to a $25 gift card for mom to go to the doctor. They have a Facebook page where moms can go and they can swap for items that they need. And so that's their version of baby care.
Gotcha.
So essentially what you have is a program such as ours, and there are others that are out there that really offer all of those services that are under baby care, but we cannot be reimbursed for them because the funds are being provided to the insurance companies, and they dictate how it is given out. And so that was a huge challenge when we first came out, trying to understand what was happening.
Yeah, why you couldn't get this kind of assistance as well.
Right, because what we find when we speak to our moms is we get two answers. Either they did not know that program existed, but even if they did know, that it did not suit the needs that they had for themselves personally. The other issue is most of organizations like ours, any 501c3, the majority of the time you're funded through grants,
right,
or foundations,
right,
things of that nature. And so we're on the tip of the iceberg and trying to understand our funding source and our stream, and getting to that point, because long term we want this to be a sustainable program,
right, and
we need to be able to address that.
Yes, and I know that is how most people survive with these kinds of programs, is that they have to have grants to provide the services. Right. And I agree, I think it's wonderful, and my heart believes completely in the volunteer aspect of this. And I was just telling somebody this the other day, that 20 years ago a job came up that my sister saw and said, "Oh, you'd be perfect for that job." And I was like, well, she said, "So let's write up a resume." And I'm like, well, I don't know what would go down on my resume. And she goes, "Trust me, I can help you with this resume." And what it came down to primarily was all the volunteer work I had done. And I did get the job. And those weren't paying jobs, but they were the things that filled me up and made me feel like I was contributing to being a human on this planet.
Right.
So I'm totally with the volunteer aspect of it. Support it. As an organization, we believe that doulas can be paid, should be paid for their services, but we strongly recommend volunteering and adjustable rates and so forth to meet the needs of those in the communities. So I'm right there with you on the volunteer aspect of it. I do, though, also know that for sustainability, it is the work of a doula or anybody working in this field takes a lot of energy and commitment. So they do deserve to be paid as well. So that funding would be so helpful.
Right, exactly.
For so many reasons, but to maintain that sustainability of the core people that you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
exactly.
I wish I could say, well, I know where that grant money is. But
we can't.
Yeah, unfortunately. But it's there. You know, it's there. And what I have been told through the years also and have seen happen is there are philanthropists out there who don't care about the tax write-off, but they could still do a tax write-off with you. But there are people who are willing to contribute money that you don't have to have a grant. Again, though, it's knowing who are those people that are willing to support a system. So if somebody enrolls in your program, the Urban Baby Beginnings, are they expected to give a commitment to the program? Like, is there a commitment policy, or I don't know, that's not the word I want to use. What are your expectations of that person? If any.
Well, we have expectations of our moms for sure, because we take it so seriously, because we're bringing in a new life. We're helping mom achieve what her goals that she set for herself are, and in combination trying to get her to a specific level. So it requires a lot of dedication and commitment on the mom's part and the doula's part that's working with her. When mom comes in, she has an understanding that we're going to be meeting with her initially monthly to see how things are going. If she's not stabilized, then we're meeting with her even more often. So, and when I say stabilized, I mean if she doesn't have adequate housing, if a nutritional aspect is suffering, if she's having issues with her mental health or the pregnancy, something's going on, we're seeing mom more often.
So can I interrupt you for a second to ask you, if somebody is homeless, how are you helping then with the stabilization?
A lot of times moms don't understand the process, what the system requires that they do. Maybe 70% of the time they're already in a shelter of some sort, and they are awaiting placement in a housing district. If they are not, however, and they are actually on the street, we're contacting social workers. We're making sure that they have gone through homeless point of entry to enroll themselves so that they can get placement in a home. We act as their liaison, so we can actually contact the organization to let them know of the situation and what's going on, in hopes that helps to expedite. And then we also go out to other organizations that sometimes they can provide funding to house mom in a hotel or something like that in the interim until we can figure it out. And so we're doing a lot of legwork to try and get them at least to a safe place.
Okay. Yeah. I can imagine. I just know from my own personal life, and I have had so much privilege in my personal life, though I've struggled tremendously, how hard it is to figure things out. So to have somebody guide you and not judge you. Which is the huge part of this, though, too, which we haven't even talked about, is the judgment on somebody who is pregnant, who, I don't care what age they are, but if they're younger, all the worse, the judgment. If they're African American or of any other color than white, what the judgment is. I mean, of course, it's on Caucasians as well, but we know that there's a difference. So to have a a safe landing place that says, okay, we'll help you. We know these different agencies. We can't fix everything, but we can help you go in the direction that will help you get landed. Must be just such a relief.
It is. And the thing is, I was, and I use this quote a lot, and it's not my quote, but I love the quote because it says, people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yes.
And the thing is that if you come to me and I'm your doctor, I'm your physician, and I'm checking you over, and I'm making sure your pregnancy is stable, and I say to you, okay, I want you to take a childbirth education class because you need to increase that knowledge. I need you to do all these things to have this great pregnancy, but yet you don't have a place to stay. You don't have warm food. You don't have clothing. Then all those other things don't matter. And so that's why we have to make sure our moms are stabilized, because if they are not, I can teach them all day long, but they will not retain any of that because they are more worried about just those basic needs, as we all are.
Yes.
And there is no judgment. That's the thing I remind my moms, because we deal with moms are coming in who don't have their self-esteem. They've been hit really hard, and they just don't know where to go. We have moms who don't know if they want to keep their babies because they can't even keep a roof over their own heads. And they're looking to us for hope. And so in looking to us for hope, we say, you know what? It is okay. Because in growing up, what I wanted to hear sometimes is, you're gonna fall. And you're going to pick yourself up and you're going to keep on going. And it is through the generosity of other people and holding your hand through that moment that you're going to get out of those things. And that is what we are to our mothers. And so when they come to us and their heads are down, we tell them, you know what? We are all family here. And how we treat you is how we would treat our family members. And it's okay to be in a hard circumstance, to recognize where you are, but to recognize you want to get out of that and to ask for help. And that's how we make the changes in what we do. I had an organization that said, you know what, we've spent millions of dollars trying to figure out what you are currently making work. And the piece that's missing is the compassion and love that you have for someone. And the fact that you have to reach your heart and hand out to that person to make that difference in their lives. And I guarantee when you do that, you will make that change, and you will see that smile, and you will see them strive to do better because they feel it themselves. That's how people grow, how they flourish.
Absolutely. People have this skewed look at help sometimes. I mean, people who haven't, they feel like, oh, but they'll make that person dependent on you if they, if you coddle them, if you hold their hand, like you just said, if their head is down and you hold their hand and you're there to walk with them. And it hurts me, that way of thinking, because it goes back to my favorite word, which could never be overused from my perspective, is compassion. I mean, that says it all to me. And you use those words, that it's compassionate care. And you cannot, I know your goal is not to make these women dependent. The opposite is true, is independence. And the only way some people can find their independence is to be held. I mean, I think about that in my own life, and the crap that I have had to go through and the struggles. And it was the people who surrounded me that made it not easier, but there was an ease to it in comparison to when I was left alone to do things. And yes, I grew, fortunately, on my own many times, but I didn't need to be always on my own. It would have been so much nicer had I had that compassionate care. But part of that also was I was my own barrier, too, from willingness to put myself out there. But I understand that, and so I think that's where I have such compassion for other people's situations, because I have also heard recently from a head of an organization that said, anybody who hasn't made it in America just hasn't tried hard enough. And it's like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, that just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
You can try really hard,
Right.
but if you don't have avenues or somebody making the pathway clearer, at least giving you a map,
Right.
You know, there's no guarantees, and there's never a guarantee.
Right. And it's hard. I mean, I think we look back many, many, many years ago when, you know, we know that we didn't have all of these tools and technologies that we have today. And what we see at the forefront is women surrounding each other to help teach how to be a good person, how to be a good mother, how to be a good wife. And it was through that we learned and evolved how to get where we needed to be. And then you have those families that push their children and push others to rise above all of the other things that are going on in their lives. But it's not, for someone to have been successful, there was always someone, whether it be family member or not, that was behind them, pushing them along the way.
Exactly.
And, you know, the thing is, and it's another saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can walk blindly, you know, through things. And yes, you can say, okay, I need to educate myself on this and I need to do that, you know, but how much easier is it to have someone that is right there by you walking your path?
Exactly.
And, you know, no, we do not coddle. We empower our women to make informed choices, to do better for themselves, because we believe that they can do better. And when they feel that belief that they can do better, that makes people want to do better.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole reason I have continued to do this work that I do. It's because for me, I want the person who is holding that baby to feel like I can raise this child, or I can make choices now for this child and myself that are the best. Right. Because I now understand that I do have choices, that I do have options, and I do have resources. I mean, that's the name of our organization, Options and Resources, and, you know, for childbirth. So the commitment, then I get clearly, you want them to be very involved and make a commitment, because this is about their long-term life and their babies. Exactly. So what about the doula program? How does that work?
Yes. So currently, the way it works is that if you are interested in volunteering for our organization as a doula, after an interview process and explaining the differences between a community doula and just birth doula.
Can you expand upon that?
Yeah. I mean, community doulas are full spectrum doulas that are dealing with a variety of issues, such as the social aspect, psychosocial issues in the home. You know, we're going to the home, doing a full assessment of what's going on and what the mom's needs are. So they have to have a great level of communication to come back to us to say, this is what we're seeing and this is what mom needs. They are in partnership with the mother. So when they're working with the mom to educate, there may be things that they're deviating from that aren't necessarily just focusing on birth as a whole.
Right.
And so a community doula is very different in that aspect, because they are an advocate for mom. They are an educator for mom. They're a support system for mom, and they will follow that mom up through 6 months after they deliver. The way we have it now is that our birth doulas will follow mom up until about 2 visits after she delivers, and we have a postpartum team that picks them up and will follow them up through 6 months. But our goal is to try and streamline that a little bit better, because we recognize that our mothers respond better when they trust the person that they're with, and we know that trust is built on an established relationship. Right. So yes, there are a lot of differences. I like to mesh the two together and really call them a doula and a perinatal health worker. Right. Because there are a lot of other aspects that they're dealing with that aren't necessarily just the birth or just postpartum.
Right. So the doula then is assigned to a particular person?
What happens is that because I interview all of my birth moms, because I'm trying to understand their personality and what it is that how they work best, because some moms like certain personalities. Some I know, they're going to do better with others. And I also interview all of my doulas. So once the doulas attend a training program, they're out and available for our mothers to be able to volunteer for them. So at that point, once I finish mom's intake, I will assign not only one doula, but two.
Okay.
What we have is a mentoring program for our doulas too. So we have an experienced doula that will work with a doula that has just been recently trained.
Okay, that's
so then
great.
That way she learns how to be effective in her role. And we know through support and education in that manner that's the most successful. And so that doula team works with mom from the time that they are referred to the mother up through their birth. Like I said, they'll see them about monthly and then every other week until they deliver. If they're able to, I ask the doulas to actually go to the mom's childbirth education classes and the breastfeeding training, and we also do a newborn care and postpartum class as well.
And you have those classes yourself?
Those are we're actually starting those in March. They're going to be offered at our Laburnum location to start. And they are about an hour and a half long. And we'll be also encompassing prenatal yoga in that as well, because we're trying to teach moms different ways of how to handle stressful situations that aren't medication based.
Right.
And so through all of that and that 5-week series, the birth doula will follow them, continue on with their education, and then they will attend their birth. I like them to go in a team, but also the reason why they're in a team is that if something happens, we always have a backup.
Right.
And then from there, once mom delivers, the birth doula will actually see mom the day after the baby has delivered to establish a strong breastfeeding pattern.
Okay. And
then when she discharges, 24 hours after discharge, she goes back into the home.
Okay.
Once that happens, our postpartum doula team picks mom up, and they typically see mom every week for the first month. Then they go to every other week. Then they go to monthly.
And then, so have they met the postpartum doula?
Yeah. They actually have met the postpartum doula prior to their delivery.
Okay.
They will actually reach out to them, explain what they're going to be doing, make sure mom's on board and very comfortable. Because again, most of our postpartum work happens in the home setting.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that they are aware of who they're going to be working with. If they can, I try to ask the postpartum doulas to meet the mom in the hospital as well.
Right.
So, but it's never a surprise of who's coming. They already know, they've already been well informed. They've already spoken with the postpartum doula over the telephone, or they may have even met her in person.
And so what has been the feedback from first the clients, the women that are receiving this kind of care?
Oh my goodness, they are in love with the doulas and the community and the program as a whole. I had a mom that posted on Facebook. She said, if I did not have this program, I would not have been able to deal with my anxiety and depression the way that I did throughout this pregnancy. And you will not. You will have such a positive experience with them. I always have my moms text me that day with baby pictures, but they'll say, I loved, and whoever the doula was. Thank you so much for doing this for me.
That's great.
We've had mothers that came to us because they were not sure that they were going to be able to keep their babies, and through our program have been able to do that. And you only get tears and hugs and laughter. And we had a huge Christmas party and brought our moms in, and it was just an overwhelming feeling to feel how they felt about us.
I'm sure how affirming and inspiring, therefore, to continue to move forward.
Right.
Do they comment about the postpartum
oh my
experience?
Goodness, yes, because coming home with a newborn baby and not being, certain of what to expect, the feeling is overwhelming. I mean, to be honest with you, even though we want moms to come in on the birth side and then move to postpartum, we get a lot of postpartum referrals from the hospital. Just postpartum.
Yeah. So you do just do that as well.
Yeah, we do just postpartum
great.
as well. And so, and it's they need that assistance and that support. We would love to stabilize mom prior to, but if we can't, it's okay. They still need to understand they can still come to us. We're still there to support them. But on the postpartum side, absolutely, we get a lot of positive feedback, not only from the clients themselves, but our referral sources are very appreciative.
What are the postpartum doulas? Because one of the things running an organization that is training birth doulas, one of the things I've always said we're remiss at is, as a culture, is the postpartum aspect. I mean, we prepare people to have this baby, everything. Right. But then, boom, it's like gone. I mean, the medical care, the healthcare system is set up that way. Go home, 6 weeks, you come back for a physical checkup, and that's that. And the pediatrician may be following a baby, but they're not talking the whole. Right. So the fact that you have the continuum, or that somebody can get the postpartum care solely if they slip through the crack beforehand. What are the postpartum doulas doing? Because some of these people may have family support. Yes. So do they feel like, well, I don't need a postpartum doula because my mom will be there, or my sister, or my partner, or, So sometimes they don't understand the concept. We've evolved the postpartum role a little bit for doulas, in that they're coming, one, to support mom and just checking, again, mental health, normal state, breastfeeding, are we having any issues that would get in the way of establishing a healthy breastfeeding pattern. We're helping mom to understand holds and what they need to look for if the baby is not feeding properly. We're looking at the baby to look at baby weight. If the baby has recently gone to the doctor's office, which is pretty common with some of our moms, the baby will have to go back to the doctor within 24 hours after being released. And so we're checking baby weights as well to make sure that we're seeing growth. Mm-hmm. So the postpartum doula is doing this.
They don't do the weight. They're speaking with the mom to make sure that there are not any issues in that regards. We are looking at swaddling techniques. We're looking at safe bedding. That's one of our campaigns. Does baby have a safe bed? If they're coming just postpartum, we need to make sure that that's happening. And then we're talking about those issues. Just, this is your baby. This is your baby. It's a little different than someone else's baby, right? Because your baby is going to behave differently. So let's talk about that. What are the normals for a newborn baby? You tell me what's going on with baby overnight. Let's talk through that, because through being able to have that communication and dialogue, then we can address those issues and hit them early on before something becomes a problem.
A crisis.
Right, a crisis. We have a crisis situation. And then from there, regardless if they have family support or not, what I find is that sometimes there are cultural barriers, or there's a lack of communication in the home about mothering. And so as a result, mom really is not getting that level of support that she needs. Right. And so we try to explain to our moms, for our postpartum doulas, that we are there to support them. And yes, during that hour we're helping them to learn about their babies and talking about developmental milestones, but it's really there just to know that we're there just so you know that there's someone in your corner, that if something's not looking right, you're not 100% sure, or maybe everything's okay, but you just need that extra, confidence booster to say, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. That's where that postpartum doula comes in.
It's great. I mean, I wish everybody had that, because, I don't care how many babies you have, there is an insecurity. I should speak for myself, that there's still that feeling. I've had 6 kids, right? But even with the 6th one, it's like, oh, this is a new person. Mm-hmm. And am I able, I had my own, also I then had to balance 5 other children and life. So are they helping, I guess, also with the social setting, the social resources also for them, as far as making sure that they aren't going into that postpartum depression. And if they are, where are the resources for that?
Yes.
Or if they have to go back to work, how are they going to negotiate that and childcare?
Mm-hmm.
And are they breastfeeding? And is that going to be able to continue? Or were they in temporary housing?
Mm-hmm.
And now what are we going to do? So they're being involved in the social services aspect,
exactly.
right?
That never stops. That's a constant. We're constantly trying to figure out what's going on in the home, because we know that that's going to impact mom and baby and their relationship and safety and all those types of things. We follow our mothers everywhere they go. We don't lose sight of mom or baby during those transitional time frames. And if we open up that dialogue, because we don't like to be reactive, sometimes it happens, but we rather be very proactive in dealing with certain issues. And so if we don't bring it up, then mom doesn't necessarily know if it's something that's appropriate.
Exactly.
To talk
It's
about.
like what you don't know until you know it.
Right. And so, and it comes back to that non-judgmental type thing. I mean, we just talk, we just talk. And through that communication and that dialogue, we can learn a lot of things and then start offering the resources that we need. Because some things may not be visible to the naked eye. Some things you have to talk through.
Right.
But yes, the postpartum doulas are in that same manner looking at the psychosocial aspect of the home and what's going on and what does mom need. And through that, we're able to, again, ensure that mom is stable and in a safe environment. We have not had anyone yet that we have had issues with in regards to our program with the level of support that we provided. And if there were any borderline situations where we felt we needed additional assistance, we immediately grabbed that to make sure that there weren't issues.
Well, and that's where you came already from. This is why I feel like this program sounds successful and can continue to be successful, because it wasn't just a slapdash put together. It sounds like it was an evolution. And like you said, the first year was really figuring out for what is the program and what is the program going to offer, which is so important. And I know you have to fine tune and adjust always all along the way to meet the needs of the individual person, or a new situation goes, oh, we hadn't thought about that one. So here, now we grow in that way. But it sounds like that foundation serves everyone very well.
Exactly.
I'm saying that for our listeners who may be like me, who hear an idea and like, oh my God, I got to do this. And then they run with it, which is more like something I am like without, I always joke about I organized something many years ago in this community. And one of the women who showed up to our initial meeting, she said, okay, so what's the 5-year plan? And I was like, 5-year plan? We're just doing this. Like, I'm not thinking the 5-year plan. But she was a wonderful teacher, because I'm not the 5-year plan person. But you do need that foundation so you can continue to grow and have that sustainability. What are the downsides to this?
Well, the downsides are, I would say, mainly the realities, I think, that hit you when you are working with your mothers, the things that you see. And it can take an emotional toll. It's very difficult to see people in the situations that they're in, knowing that they could be in something better, but due to lack of resources and lack of funding, that you can't help more than what you can do, and that it's frustrating. Yeah, it's very difficult.
It must be heartbreaking. I can just, having been through so many different people's life experiences, birth experiences, you have to come to that place of understanding, like, I can't save the world.
Exactly.
I can't make it for everyone, but I'm here right at this moment, must be. But yes, the emotional toll.
And it's hard, I think, even for my doulas when they come in, because I try to, it's hard to tell someone until they start working with my moms that there are some boundaries that you have to have, and you're going to want to cross every last one of them. You're going to want to do things that you would do, for your child. But there has to be a boundary to that.
So how do you describe the boundaries to people? Because I believe in boundaries.
Yes. I let them know that at the very beginning when they're speaking with the mom, that there are things that we can't do on a personal level. And that personal level is that I can't transport you in my own personal vehicle. However, I can help you help you establish transportation through Capital Diaper Bank or through your insurance company to get where you need to go. Personal boundaries are I'm not able to house you in my home.
Right.
And that's hard.
I was just, because we even began the conversation, Stephanie, when you and I were just having a conversation before the recording, I was thinking, okay, could we take someone, that's what's going through my head.
Yes. And you want to do that. And I'm telling you, I would have a house full of women.
Would.
If I could have a home for my pregnant moms, I would have it.
Yeah.
Because, and that's inevitably where I want to go, is to have that
real community.
That real community. But we can't bring moms into our homes. And the other thing that has to be a boundary is that we cannot take mom's baby. Sometimes what happens is mom is very overwhelmed. And what she's thinking is that, okay, I need to make that decision that my baby is going to be best through have a better chance at life through the adoptive process.
Right.
And so, of course, if you've been working with mom for this period of time and you guys have a established rapport, that conversation is going to come up. And so I let our moms know, because as moms, we are protectors and we want to protect the people that we care for. And, that is not something that we're able to do.
Yeah.
Monetarily, I let our doulas know that we have some funds that are saved for moms when they need assistance, that we have items to help get them stabilized. So I asked them to just be careful about giving out money, because what I don't want is for them to experience a situation where you've given mom a certain dollar amount this month and then next month you can't.
Right.
And they become reliant on that.
Well, that's a dangerous thing.
Right. And that cripples mom.
It does. That's what I mean by the danger. That. Yeah. Because I think I have worked with other organizations. There's one here in the Richmond area that actually works with women in Guatemala, the Mayan women in Guatemala. And what I love about this organization is they are totally about empowering, and that they will not let volunteers come with supplies that they're not going to continue to give on a regular basis, because then what happens to those people?
Because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't understand either if I was in a situation and I was receiving this for a period of time and then all of a sudden it stopped.
Right.
So we have to have some level of consistency, and it is hard. I mean, I'm telling you, I do it all the time. I'm like, I got to do this and this, but at the end of the day, we're here again to try and empower our moms to make great decisions and to be able to sustain and support themselves and their families. And there are times where we have to step in, but we do it as an organization and we don't take it on as an individual. We make those decisions as an organization.
And I think that's what is so helpful about what you're describing. Is it's one thing to start to do this as an individual, which we say to doulas, do whatever you feel you're drawn to do. But the fact of what you just said, when you present it as an individual doula with circumstances and you are on your own, how much harder then it is to keep those boundary lines or not be swallowed up, burnt out, and just done. Right. So I would assume that helps the continuum as well.
Yes.
So I interrupted you on the downside. I mean, based on what you were talking about, what are the deficits? What are the things that you want to see change?
Yeah. I want to see better access for our moms, for health care, for their mental health, for Education, I would like to see it centralized to where moms don't have to flounder to find these resources that they need. That red tape a lot of times keeps moms from being able to get where they need to go when they need to get there. The homeless situation, I would love to see a better system overall for our mothers to be able to receive safe housing. I mean, again, it's a huge nationwide crisis for a lot of different people and populations. So it's not fair to say just for pregnant women.
No, but this is this
is my niche, and that's why I focus on it, because I worry about mom and baby being on the street or not.
Well, we can't help everyone, unfortunately. I mean, because there's other people, though, we have to know are helping those other people. So it's so important that there is someone like you and your organization who are working to help pregnant women.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is, I would like to see funding for grassroots organizations. I'm not the only one.
Right.
When I talk to multiple organizations, they say it's the same exact thing, that, we are out there pounding the pavement, doing what we need to do for these families to help them through the crisis. And we know that funding is there. It's just not allocated to where we feel like it needs to be to help. And we've had larger organizations that have said, we recognize that and we need to change that, but it's not going to change today.